Welcome back to LDB Games. I'm Lord Darth Balls, and this is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video. Before we get into it, if you're here, you like Raid, you like watching videos, you can support my channel for free. Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below to see more content from me as it comes out. Let's get to the video. In this video, I'm going to go through the team that I use to farm Gold 5 in the arena. Right? And what's the purpose of farming arena other than fun, because I really enjoy the arena. But you collect these medals that you can use to upgrade your Great Hall. And upgrading your Great Hall allows you to get a stat bump on various stats across various affinities. Now you can see I have some of mine maxed out, right? I'm still working on my Great Hall. I would be categorized by this level as a mid to late game player. End game is really when you start pushing level 190 and higher, and how you work through the Great Hall can help you get there faster. So a really good rule of thumb is to start maxing either crit damage or accuracy. I, for one, went with accuracy. I still haven't finished my magic accuracy because I pulled Trunda pretty early and I wanted to keep her accuracy low. Once I got through most of accuracy, I started focusing on crit damage. Now, after crit damage is a little bit of a variable, right? I started focusing on some resistance. I even did some attack for my Void Nukers. However, HP and defense are going to be an excellent choice and probably a better choice than attack as you get closer to the late game, right? Attack only helps the champions that do damage based on attack. HP and defense increase the effective HP of every champion in the game. So there are more champions that get a bonus from HP and defense than there are from attack. However, like I said, accuracy and crit damage are some of the best stats to focus on in the arena. Now, my team for farming, I use this squad right here. So I just did a spotlight video on Hegemon. I'll pin to that up top. He is a top tier arena nuker, and he's got a cool passive that allows him to go first no matter what. Unless you're facing another Hegemon in the team, then it's based on speeds. And then after that, I go with my Arbiter. She comes in with a turn meter boost and an attack increase. Then I've got Madame Cerise in here, a top tier mid to late game arena champion. She kind of falls off in the end game. I haven't gotten there yet, so not a big deal. And then I come in with Leorius the Proud for my nuker. So let's take a look at how this plays out, right? I'll take it off auto so you guys can see how this works, right? So Hegemon's passive kicks in. He comes in with a nice big nuke. He didn't do too much against this team, but that's okay. Now we've got Duchess in here, right? So that's a great reason. She's actually in immunity. And if I use Madame Cerise has a buff strip and a decreased attack and decreased defense. You can see Syl actually resisted the strip. But now everybody's got, except for Martyrs, got decreased defense on. And I'm going to come in with my Leorius for an AoE that has a weaken on it before attacking. And even puts a True Fear on if they don't. You see, Duchess just lost her turn because of that True Fear. Now, a case can be made for me to just go full on damage and forget the accuracy with Leo. However, I prefer the additional control because I know that even with full damage, I'm not going to be able to kill everybody. He is pretty powerful, and even in some Go Second teams. But the reason that I use this team for farming is its speed. It's a very quick run. You can see this one, Hegemon just takes the cake here, right? He is an incredible nuker, the way I have him built. And when you're farming medals, you don't want to be caught up in these long, drawn-out fights. You want to just go through your fights one by one, knocking them down, collecting those medals, and moving on. And when you do have a speed farm team for the arena, it makes any arena event or tournament for a fusion like the easiest thing in the world. All you got to do is use a day or two's worth of refills and boom, you're good, right? See, that was a 14-second run. Now, Leo's pretty cool too. I'm going to do a video on him soon. His damage goes up based on the amount of HP he loses. But again, this is just the overall showcase of the team. I'll do this one more run and then we'll jump into my champions. I'll walk through their stats and show you how they're built. Because a couple of these have unique builds, right? Arbiter and Madame Cerise are sort of tied together in their build. I'll go through that right now, actually, for you guys to see. So let's go to my champions. Now, Arbiter is a free to obtain champion. You just got to work through your missions, right? And she's incredible when you get her. So Hegemon starts off, he's got an AoE, his passive. There's his passive that I was talking about. He always goes first, unless he's facing another Hegemon. And his A2 is an AoE. Places a decreased attack, which is awesome, because if they do get a turn, it's going to reduce the damage they do. And it also has a 50-50 chance of placing a block active skills, which can come in pretty clutch, though I don't have him built with much accuracy. He is in Savage Gear, with 100% crit and 270% crit damage, just under 6k attack. His speed is irrelevant most of the time, because even if I'm going against a Hedgie, I don't use Hedgie. And then steps in my Arbiter. You'll notice she is in all speed gear, and I got really lucky with these boots. This was the first set of speed boots that I ascended into a speed stat, which is awesome. So she is running quick, 349. Now, late game, this isn't fast enough, and speed is kind of falling out of the meta, but this is perfect for farming gold. And honestly, for her, none of her other stats matter. Next up, I have Madame Cerise. Now, I have her running really quick as well. And what I did is I used the calculator that you can find on, I think Deadwood Jedi's website has it. There's a Wolfram widget. I'll pin to the calculator that I use down in the comments. And you'll be able to calculate the minimum speed you need on your second champion to ensure that nobody cuts in. So the way Arbiter and Madame Cerise have their speeds, there will never be a chance unless one of the opponents has a decreased turn meter capability. These two will always go in succession. And now I don't need my Leo tied to them in speed because his passive increases his damage as he loses HP and will prevent him from taking a fatal hit by putting unkillable. So I'm okay with him taking hits, right? Because his A3 is his big nuke. And the more damage he takes, the more damage he does. But like you saw in the runs, he places a weekend before attacking, which combined with decreased defense gives me the most damage output possible. And then if he doesn't kill him, he drops a True Fear on him, which is beautiful, right? You saw that happen with Duchess. He has a really cool passive effect on his A2, which makes him immune to control abilities. So based on the way I have my team, if my Arbiter wins the speed race, it doesn't matter what they have on their team. They could come in after my Madame Cerise and use an Umbral to provoke me. They could use a Syl to stun me. Whatever they have, use a Kymar to sleep me. As long as his A2 is locked out, he'll never get affected by those abilities, which is beautiful. And I have Soul Reap on him, as well as Soul Reap on my Hegemon. Just in case they do just enough damage to get them under that threshold, but not enough to kill. This is just a final nuke to close out the attack. My Arbiter has Intimidating Presence to help me improve my speed and take theirs down, give me the best chance of winning that speed race. And I have Madame Cerise in Chainbreaker. What this allows me to do is potentially remove control abilities. If they beat me in the speed race and I still want a chance of winning, but my Madame Cerise gets controlled, I'm in trouble, right? So this gives me that extra chance, 10% chance on a 1 and 2 star of removing that debuff so that she can go strip the buffs and place that decreased defense and weaken with her A3. And this is an all-star ability. One of the best arena abilities that exists. Her A2 is really useful too. It's an AoE that has a chance of stripping a buff, actually stealing a buff. And if you do steal a buff, it puts block damage on your entire team and True Fear on the champion you stole it from. Just some really nice extra control. I do have some masteries on these champions, right? You'll see I went down the support tree just for the extra accuracy because it's not in the build. But I could very well have gone down the defense tree for Retribution to give me the chance of counterattacking. His Hegemon's pretty squishy, so he becomes the target. But I went down to Helm Smasher for an extra chance of ignoring defense. So combined with Savage, if this procs, he's going to ignore 50% of the enemy's defense, giving him a chance to just wipe the team out, right? I've got Ruthless Ambush for damage on the first hit. I've got damage against shields. In case there's a Krisk on the team, this can help on the opponent's team. This can help give me extra damage in the beginning of the fight. He's always going to be attacking someone with higher max HP because his is pretty low. And a chance to decrease his cooldown is always nice to have, right? For my Leo, I did something very similar. The difference is I went for Flawless Execution because I want, again, the consistency of damage. I do have him built in Savage, but there's no chances with this. This is guaranteed. There's no RNG roll. And Hegemon goes first, so by the time Leo comes around, it's usually a cleanup job. So I want consistent high damage for my Leo. But everything else is pretty much the same except for the cooldown. I went with this one because I do have him in a control team as well with Umbral, a team that doesn't use Hegemon. So it'll allow him to do more... Oh, there's no Provoke on here. I should probably change that or use a different control champ. Because if I do use a control champ that puts one of these on, it'll just increase his damage. And I went with the accuracy as well for him for the weaken on his A3. Just helps me do more damage, which is really nice. Arbiter, all I care about is speed, right? So you'll notice on her, I don't even have her on the offense tree because she's not there to do damage, right? I have her with a chance to extend the buffs, increase attack. She does have a weaken, so I have a chance to extend that if she lands it. The big one is Lore of Steel, because this will increase the stat bonus of the speed gear that she has on, giving her even more speed. Outside of that, some turn meter boost when her buffs expire or get removed. And yeah, I think there's one more. Increasing the turn meter when a debuff is removed or expires. So like her weaken when she lands it. Basically any ability that helps me push my turn meter forward and my speed up. And then for defense, I kind of did an odd little thing here. Right, she's always going to get hit with a crit in the arena. So this is just an overall damage reduction. And then I went to Bulwark to spread some of the damage my team receives onto her and help protect them in the end. And then the last one is Madame Cerise. Again, offense doesn't matter. I don't have her crit capped. Oh, I forgot to do her stats. Her stats, she's running at 309, 461 accuracy in the arena. That's what I didn't go over before. And this is to ensure that she doesn't get resisted as much, right? I would want this higher. Ideally, I want to be 500-600 accuracy here, but to get the speed requirements, I did have to sacrifice a little accuracy, and she doesn't get resisted very often. You'll see, I think only one time, and it was a singular instance in her ability she get resisted. But again, her masteries, I went down for Eagle Eye for the extra accuracy because I need her to be able to strip those buffs off, especially if they have immunity, or some kind of skill that puts up block buffs or increased defense or ally protection, and it even gives you the chance of ripping off Stone Skin, which is pretty sweet if you ask me. So it's all about accuracy, and then I have Retribution on here because she has that fear mechanic on her A1. Chance of placing a fear when she attacks, and it increases based on the number of debuffs they're under, which is pretty sweet. So that's my arena team. I'll probably be doing additional arena teams on different teams that you can build, right? There are a number of other different arena teams to build. This is the one that I use to speed farm because it is a speed farm so that I can level my Great Hall up. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, before you leave, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you can start seeing more content from me as I release it. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Enjoy your raid.